in celebration of the Klipsch pilgrimage and Paul Klipsch birthday, this weekend in Hope, Arkansas, March the 5th through the 7th. This celebrates the 80th anniversary of Hope Klipsch Factory and 10 years of the Klipsch Museum. You need to come by and visit. It's an amazing place. Brought to you by Janae Cook, Taylor Realty Group, 501-617-9747. Don't delay. Call Janae. Brought to you by M-Force Capital. Joanna Horton at M-Force Capital, 501-922-9259. Your local professional in Hot Springs Village. And literally like your good neighbor, Ike Eisenhower, your State Farm agent. Your good neighbor is there, 501-984-4100.
Front door open.
Front door still open. Mr. Jim, Dennis Simpson, good to see you, buddy. So, just curious, how long you been here?
Well, I worked here 38 years.
Wow.
I've been retired 10.
So you were just starting, right?
No, my second job.
Really? What did you do here?
Got them in the woofer building business.
Oh, really? Not subwoofer, just woofer.
Right.
So I see some of the drivers here, and we're talking about that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, those aren't Klipsch, but those are historical units.
Yeah, but my point of view, I mean, y'all did the windings here? You did the paper? What did you do?
Assembly of
woofers.
coils and woofers and magnets. And
Let me go back 40 years, so we're talking, 1980-ish, 85 or so?
yes,
Wow.
that's when we started.
Something tells me you see people from all over the world here.
Oh, yeah.
My goodness. Well, give us the tour. Show us through the pieces. Do we start at the X5?
No. No, Paul respected his elders, so we start before Paul.
Really? Okay.
This room is devoted to that. This building was part of the Southwest Proving Ground during World War II.
Right.
And that's the reason that Paul came to Hope.
So this building was an Army building at one point.
Yes, it was a telephone exchange building.
Really? And so the real reason that they had a facility here, if I'm not mistaken, was munitions testing?
Yes.
How did Paul get 2 patents to do that?
Well, he has 3 patents in ballistics.
Really?
But the one he got during the Proving Ground days was on the 105 millimeter Howitzer shell.
With the proximity in it?
No, it was the duds were falling on U.S. troops at the beginning of the war, and he patented the method of testing to make sure they were good.
Oh, wow. Anyway, I distracted you. So this was the old telecommunications building.
Yes.
And how did we get to there from here? I mean,
well, after the war, 22 days after the Japanese surrendered, this place was considered surplus.
22 days.
Yeah. So,
and he was working here or living here?
Well, he came here because he was conscripted by Uncle Sam because he'd been in the ROTC.
Wow.
He was in his 3rd career of oil prospecting in Houston when Uncle Sam punched his ticket.
Now, he had gotten a degree at Arizona?
No, New Mexico
New
State.
Mexico, yeah, but it was an A&T. It was an Army and Technical at that time, right? And then,
well, he called it Cow College. It was an agricultural college.
Really?
At the time.
God.
But he got an electrical engineering degree.
And then came here. I'm sorry, I keep hopping around.
He went through, speakers is his 5th career.
Really?
Yeah.
So now, I don't mean to be silly, but you worked here 30 years and you've been retired 10. So he passed away in the late 90s?
2002.
2002. Okay. So you had a chance to really, you knew him. You met with him. Okay.
Yeah.
And then did you ever get a BS sticker? Did you ever you got the button?
Oh, I got the button. I have a BSEE degree and I have the button.
Do you really? Wow. Wow. And basically a German immigrant, right?
His grandparents were.
Yeah. And German no-nonsenseness, I guess. What was his personality like?
It was a dry sense of humor, but
really
very, very good.
Very good. And obviously, exceptional engineer. Give us back to the story. I promise not to distract you again.
Well, Well, this room is dedicated to the people that came first.
Yeah.
He respected his elders. Now, when he got out of college in 1927 with his degree, his first job was designing radios at General Electric Company.
Really?
Thomas Edison was still on the payroll.
Do tell.
So we start with an Edison phonograph that Paul loved to demonstrate to people, and then ask them a dirty question afterwards. Now you see the
horn.
The horn.
Yeah.
The size of it can only go to about 500 hertz.
Okay, so it only
That's
goes
as low as it'll go.
right. So AM broadcast kind of thing.
So listen to the bassoon solo. Now, the lowest note of bassoon is 60,
Right.
and this can't do it. What did we hear?
You hear the artifact above it? I don't know.
The harmonics above it.
Harmonics, yeah.
8th order and higher only. But it's enough for the ear and the brain to extrapolate.
Right.
Kind of sounds like a
what
bassoon.
it should sound like.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the ear and the brain let us get away with murder.
Really?
And this is 1917. These are radio horns
Yeah.
from about 1917, or plus or minus. When radio was coming of age at about that time, it was a man thing in the basement with a pair of headphones.
Right, exactly.
But as comedy and music and everything got on there, everybody wanted in. So he got an accessory called a loudspeaker.
One sec, Jim. So we moved up to the loudspeaker, and that's an approximation by any stretch.
The one in the back here
Right.
is Bell Telephone, Western Electric.
Yeah, I've
and
seen these
it says
before.
loudspeaking telephone on it.
Really?
So it's probably the origin of the word loudspeaker.
Huh.
Now, this one is polished turd. No, sorry.
No, it looks
It's
like
a
a
dog tile.
Really?
It's like one that Paul had in South America in his second career of electric locomotive maintenance.
Is this a train horn?
No, it's a radio horn.
Wow. Okay. And these Magnavox?
Those are all radio horns.
Wow. By the way, I have some headphones just like this that were World War II era like that. And boy, those were high tech for the day, weren't they? Jeez. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Now, hey, would our viewers and listeners consider this a radio or?
No, that's a tweeter.
No, but I mean
That's the power supply for the electromagnet.
Really? It took that much juice?
That's the tweeter. No, it didn't take a lot of juice. It took magnetism, and they didn't have permanent magnets.
Oh.
So the old stuff was electromagnets, and this is a power supply.
How fascinating. How fascinating. Okay, to set the field. Yeah, okay.
Now, that dog pile I talked about over there,
yeah.
Paul had one like that when he went to South America. He met a guy who had a direct radiator, and they had to compare.
I bet.
So about 1929 is when he first realized that horns are more efficient.
Really? So what was he doing in South America?
His second career of electric locomotive maintenance.
I see. And what part of South America particularly? Chile.
Antofagasta.
Wow. I'm trying to imagine if these were the drivers of the day, the speakers of the day, and those were the direct radiators of the day, that it's the electric locomotives were pretty something.
And you notice the direct radiator there, that's 1925-ish.
Yeah.
And the outside edge, the surround,
still intact.
is deerskin.
Deerskin?
Yeah.
Now, I can buy a pair of Sherwin Vegas from 1980 and they won't be intact.
Right. Deerskin's still good.
So is the transformer for this one, you had to charge it too?
Yeah, it's an electromagnet.
So you actually had to keep a circuit
You had to have
on
a
the
DC
magnet.
power supply
Okay.
to run the magnet.
Wow.
Now, backing up a bit, you see the headphones here on the left.
With the toilet paper coil beside them.
Well, that is because in 1974, he gave an interview to Rolling Stone, and they asked him what his first acoustic experiment was. And he said that in 1919, with his homemade radio, while still in high school, he stuck a toilet paper tube on the earpiece to see what would happen.
And that's where
he said it sounded like hell, but that was it.
So there wasn't any, this isn't a mistake that this toilet paper cone's in here.
No, is his 1919 pair of headphones.
That's how he began with
that was his
horn.
first acoustic experiment.
Wow.
You know, toilet paper tube is not a horn. But,
no, but I get it. It coupled that way. Wow. Goodness. Okay, please proceed.
Now you see the tubes here. The left one and the right one are audions. So that's the very beginning of electrical amplification.
And what do we have before this? We were listening with headphones to unamplified circuits. Is that correct?
Essentially.
Yeah. And so these amplifiers, these tubes could make how many watts roughly?
I have no clue.
Couple to
I
5?
don't have any idea.
No, the reason I say that is because Paul was always talking about, you give me 1 clean watt.
Yes.
You know, and
Yeah.
so we were working on the low scale there. So yeah.
I'm
Okay.
sure it was very low.
Okay.
Now, in this case, most important is the big unit bottom center. That is a 1947 mono FM radio, the first one commercially available after World War II. Now, it sat in a closet for 30 years. I didn't know what it was. And I finally got into Paul's technical journal library of 6,000 volumes that we have.
Goodness.
And I found this magazine here.
Didn't come with the cats. The cats weren't included, right?
Okay.
So,
Well, it turns out
Uh-huh.
that I found out what it was. It was the FM radio, the first debut of a mono FM radio. 1947, it cost $350.
my Lord. Do I add a
Also,
zero?
magazine,
Do I add a zero to that today or 2
At
zeros?
least.
Yeah.
Zero. Turns out Edwin Armstrong was the inventor of FM,
Right.
and they were friends. And we've got an extensive correspondence file with Armstrong. Now, he first demoed FM in 1947 to the National Broadcasters Association using a homemade Klipschorn built by an engineer at Bell Labs who was a friend of Paul's.
Do tell.
So, my guess is that Paul got that as a kind of a product trade or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because within 2 months of Armstrong's inaugural debut of FM, Paul was demonstrating it in Texarkana at the Grimm Hotel.
Really?
Probably with that.
Okay, so and this is that 19 3/8? Is that like a rack mount?
Yeah.
Just the standard rack
Mhm.
mount size? And I don't see a name on it. Was it Bell Labs or what was
It's
it?
an REL.
REL.
Mhm.
Huh. Amazing. Now we have to understand, now for the viewers and listeners, if you're nerdy enough to follow where we're at right now, the fact of the matter is that low wattage was the story. You could, but to begin with, you had to use headphones and earphones because you couldn't really hear it, or a huge bell. Then we moved over to tube type amplifiers that had enough power to drive what we would consider a modern speaker, right? I guess?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's
But
the
now
base-
this kind of stuff developed differently for home entertainment versus professional.
versus commercial, yeah.
In 1939, at the New York World's Fair, they had 4-channel sound outdoors for an audience of 100,000 people, and they had 500 watts a channel without feedback.
500 a channel. My goodness.
The amplifiers weighed 7 tons.
7 tons, and they were all tube type, right? Because we didn't know what solid state was at the time.
Without feedback.
Without feedback. My goodness.
So,
goodness.
if industry could do it long before
Yeah, it got to your
people could
home.
do it.
Yeah.
Just like stereo was invented in the early 20s at Bell Labs
Really?
with direct-to-disc masters.
In the 20s.
Yeah,
But it takes a decade to propagate that down to the
several decades.
Yeah, and to get it cheap enough to,
Yeah.
So tell me more. The Bogan amplifier, the speaker here, what are we looking at?
I don't know much about them.
Okay. Unknown speaker, a drum inside, cold plastic horn. Okay. And then the radio back there?
It's a homemade something.
Wow.
Not Paul's, but
Not Paul's, huh? Newcomb Holly. And just basically older stuff.
the
Amazing.
beginning of high fidelity started at Bell Labs because President asked them to design his PA system. So you had Nobel Prize winning physicists designing the speaker for the president with an unlimited budget. They came up with the 555 compression driver in 1926, the one on the left. That driver is virtually state-of-the-art today.
It is.
But that driver was coupled to a horn like at the end of the hallway here for the PA system. Now, a couple of years later, sound came to the movies, and the driver fell in as a basic building block of movie theater sound.
What I'm imagining.
So if you want one, you can get them for between 5,000 and 10,000 apiece.
Really? Well, I've heard about these repeatedly. And I just, in my mind, I'm trying to imagine, and for our listeners and viewers, the piece that gets me is that, you know, we literally hired people, or we voted for people that had voices that project, because there was no other way to get the voice to 100,000 people at an inauguration or anything else until...
Or go to a Roman Colosseum.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But, you know, the amazing part is that these were the drivers. And for you and I, let's be frank, this was not sound, and it is today, but it wouldn't be sound as we would think of as full spectrum sound. It would be just public address, right? For the
No.
Yeah.
No.
Full volume?
Full range.
So they would have a woofer with it?
The 555 compression driver can, if with a horn big enough, can be used from 60 to 8,000.
From 60.
Yeah.
So it would have played the bassoon.
Oh, yeah. And the device beside it is the world's first tweeter.
Real.
For movie theater use.
Voice of the theater. I remember.
Before that.
Before those days.
Voice of the theater is Altec. Altec was a derivative
of Bell Labs.
Essentially.
Yeah. Goodness. Well, tell me, I'm dying to know, how did we progress from there? And I want to know the woofer questions and all this.
Well, in this case, you know about bullshit.
Yeah, the BS stickers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there were companies he respected, and that's who we've got in here: Electro Voice, JBL, Altec, Lansing, Jensen, Stevens, and Voight.
And among the bullshit people would be?
Well, we have Carlson in there.
And for people that don't know, this is the Mothership, right? This is where this is the La Scala. What am I
No,
thinking?
that is the Bell.
That is Lavelle. Okay. And this was named after his wife.
His second wife.
Second wife. Beautiful, beautiful pieces. And we didn't get to the Epshorn. Is that where we... I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead. You tell the story.
Well, I mean, that is Paul came here for World War II.
Mm-hmm.
He's giving 80 to 90 hours a week to Uncle Sam. In his spare time, he designs the Klipschorn in his officer's quarters.
In his spare time?
Yes. And that is it.
Unbelievable. So the question is that he's doing this in his spare time, then the war is over, which, and I'm guessing, was that a disruption for him? Because, I mean, he has more time, but he was getting a paycheck, right?
All of a sudden there was no paycheck. He had to quit tithing in church because 10% of zero was
still a zero. Do you think at any time he thought that this would become anything, or was this just his passion project of, hey, I wanted to hear this?
I think he knew it was going to happen.
Really? He could tell he could see enough of what the future was going to be. Okay.
Now, this is a recreation of his amplifier he used with this speaker at the Victory Dance at the airport. And, Spinal Tap, all their amps go to 11.
It goes louder. It's one louder.
He went to 11 during World War II.
He went to 11 before it was cool. Is that right?
40 years before.
40 years before it was cool. So proceed. What is this, and how do we get here, and what are we looking at?
That's a runt La Scala.
This was the
rare.
Yeah.
30 or 40 of them probably made.
Really?
Jeff Beck used them for stage monitors.
Good story. Now, is that die-cast aluminum? Is that steel?
die-cast, or it's cast aluminum.
Cast, yeah. And the medals here?
He was a marksman, small rifle marksman. These are all from 1938 to 41. With like a 22 rifle.
Right.
And one of them could be second place in Texas.
Could be.
It's a second place. I don't know whether it was the entire state or not.
Where's University of Arcasipia?
In somebody's mind.
That's kind of what I thought. It's a cute joke. It's a great joke.
Yeah.
Wow. Lead us on, if you would. Oh, my goodness. I've never seen this many K-horns in my life.
You may perceive that my voice sounds different in here.
Yeah.
And that is because the room is acoustically treated, in particular with the cylindrical diffusing surfaces. So the echoes are diffused.
At every major point.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now, Paul bought this building in 1948, and this was his listening room from 48 to 1980.
Really?
But in the late 50s, it was also his recording studio. He did not like records and tapes you could go buy.
So he made his own?
He started another division of the company.
Because he didn't have anything else to do in his spare time.
Sell reel-to-reel first-generation copies off of his masters.
Man.
Now, you probably heard of Ampex.
Of course.
The gold standard. Well,
Yeah.
I don't think he could afford it. But he could afford Berlant, and he knew Mr. Berlant. So Paul, tape player, Mr. Berlant, in front of one of Paul's 6 airplanes. And in early 1953, he writes to Berlant.
This afternoon, I witnessed a 2-channel audio perspective demonstration that worked. Now, what you going to do about it? That's brilliant.
Possibly the world's first hashtag. Berlant was making stereo equipment the next year. Paul was dragging the industry into stereo. He couldn't get a stereo amp, so he bolts 2 Fishers together.
And makes
monoblocks.
Monoblocks them together and makes his own. Roughly how many watts?
I think they're 20 or 30 watts each.
Okay. He had a small room at that time.
Yeah. Now, this is him in this room recording with a grand piano behind him that always sat right here. He liked to compare against the real thing, which ain't easy.
No, it ain't easy at all. I thought there would be more deadening for something like this. I see that it's a diffuser, which makes complete sense. So it's not a square bounce echo, whatever.
Right.
But it's not absorbing like we would with an anechoic chamber. Now, you got an anechoic in the 80s?
Well, you don't want to listen in an anechoic chamber.
Because
it ain't right. I mean, that isn't your environment.
It's just dead, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's acoustically sterile.
Mercy.
Now, in the 30s, before he even came here, he was starting to work on a corner horn while still in Houston, prospecting. And one of the things he didn't like was the quality of phonograph cartridges. So he made his own and gave them to people. This is his patent model for the variable reluctance cartridge. He gets to the patent office a couple of months after General Electric had already been there with the same thing.
Oh, man.
So he sharpens his pencil and develops a magnetostrictive principle cartridge. Westinghouse beats him to the patent office. So I like to say only Edison and Tesla have beat him.
Really? Yeah, just a couple of times, right?
Yeah.
My goodness. What was he like to talk with? I mean, just a brilliant mind? Was he?
Yeah. He could talk at any level. I mean, one of his expressions was, say it in words of one cylinder.
One cylinder? One cylinder.
He was screwing around, but
not one syllable.
Talk to people on their own level.
Yeah.
Don't use all the fancy damn language.
Right. Which, don't serve any purpose a lot of times. Yeah. So I didn't know the depth of the width of things, I should say here. So we're roughly where in the timeline? What day are we? What year, I should say? Well,
1945, he gets out of the Army.
Right.
He wants to make loudspeakers his 5th career. He has a handsaw.
It was a handsaw. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Somehow he talks Baldwin Piano Company in Cincinnati into making him 12 woofer cabinets. The last of those is down here. We call this one serial number 13. And it went to Consumer Reports in 1947 for the first review.
Now, if you would, or I will, explain to our viewers and listeners, why is it not finished? What's on the end? What's the edge here? Why is this?
Well, this is... They didn't care that much. This was a bunch of men.
Yeah, no, but
we hadn't involved the women yet.
there were no cosmetics going on so far. No, what I was getting at is this sits against the sheetrock wall or the wooden wall or whatever.
Whatever you got.
And this is the space.
Wallpaper in that
case,
probably.
Yeah. This is the space where the music comes out. The highs come out here, and the music comes out the side. And the reason we hadn't got the women involved yet is because they would have screaming fits. You're going to put that in my house?
More about the women here in just a second. So after this one, after they got the last of the 12 in, Baldwin told him to take a hike. So he got with a local cabinet maker, and they made 7 more. That's numbers 14 through 20. This is number 18. And in this corner is number 20. Now, when they left Hope, they both looked like number 18.
Oh.
The guy in New York City that bought the pair, or 2, because it wasn't stereo at that time, he applied what we think is the first case of the wife acceptance factor.
WAF, WAF, the WAF.
Made it look like a liquor cabinet.
It's a great idea.
But when he left Hope, it looked just like that.
So let me get this straight. Before women, after women. I'm just making sure.
Yes.
You pick. Yeah. And I just, Jim, just to be clear, these are priceless. I mean, right? I mean,
yeah.
These aren't being sold to anybody for anything at any price.
No, virtually nothing in here.
Yeah, I was about to say probably nothing in here would be that way. My goodness, just.
These Baldwin units were in 1947 up until about the middle of 48 when he bought this building and started manufacturing in the basement with number 121. So he looked like a bigger outfit.
He could afford a digit, right? Didn't cost much. So I do have to ask, what did Consumer Reports say about that first unit, the first 0 through 12?
They were impressed.
It made a lot of sense.
It was a very short article.
Really?
But it was, all of them were back then.
Yeah. They weren't 4-page articles. Yeah. So after the first one, how did you get this one back? I'm just curious.
I don't remember where we got that one back.
Wow. He did a great job, that's for sure. Anyway, so the After Woman Factory, yep, okay.
So anyway, he starts in the basement with number 121. You know, this building cost $49,000 for the government to build it in 1941.
Right.
He buys it for $3,000 after they're done.
With a basement for free. For free, yeah.
Manufacturing. Now I'm going to skip ahead to 1953.
Yeah, sure.
Do you know the name Arthur Fiedler?
Yeah,
Boston Pops.
Yeah, sure. The famous conductor, yeah.
1953, Paul is our dealer in Berkeley, California, giving Arthur Fiedler the lecture on high fidelity. At the meeting, which we have all the documentation of, Paul traded Fiedler this Klipschorn in order to use Fiedler's name in advertising. So he scored the ultimate product endorsement.
The marketing de jour.
Now, about 1980, 81, somewhere in there, Fiedler dies. So through a mutual friend, we get the speaker back operating. And in the archives, we have Fiedler's interior decorator's color chip it was matched to.
And that's how we got to the gray, right? Wow. Well, what were these selling for at the time? I mean,
around 600.
I mean,
700.
It's not cheap, but it's not. Yeah,
it was pretty damn expensive at that time.
Honey, I got a great idea. I'm going to spend $600. We could buy a new car, but we're going to buy a pair of speakers, right?
No, one speaker.
One speaker.
Wow. Now, you know about the button. This is 1975, the infamous shirt.
Yeah.
This is the entire company wearing it in 1975. A couple of years later, a student at the University of Arkansas was arrested for disorderly conduct for wearing the shirt into the post office. The Klipsch attorney said, yeah, we can take care of this. But he didn't have to do anything. They dropped charges pretty quickly.
Yeah, when they
I
breathe.
interviewed the guy a few years ago.
Really?
And wrote an article for the museum titled Orderly Conduct.
So it wasn't just providers that made him say bullshit. It was everything or anything?
The first time I ever saw him, I didn't know him. I was at an IEEE convention, and they were giving technical papers, and there was some old guy walking up and down the aisle passing out something yellow during an IEEE papers presentation.
Explain what IEEE is. I know, but they don't.
The Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. It's the largest professional society in the world.
Yeah, it's where all the electron guys get together and talk, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, and he's passing out bullshit buttons, right?
Yeah. Now this case has representative tweeters and woofers and mid-ranges. Not everything,
True.
But more important are the paper products at the bottom.
Yeah, I was looking at these. Oh, these are the measurement scales, aren't they?
Well, you know what a slide rule is.
Sure.
Paul made his own. And the one on the left and the one on the right were made for specific airplane engines, so he could calculate fuel-air mixture at different temperatures and altitudes.
Not having a computer didn't stop him, did it?
No.
And these tweeters, so now, were you involved in the woofers here?
Well, those are before my time.
Okay, I was just curious. And now, these are tweeters that they would buy from outsourced people, right?
Yeah, Electro-Voice was one of the big ones. Before Electro-Voice, it was University.
Mm-hmm.
There were even a few Jensens used.
Yeah, the huge compression drivers. I'm assuming these
That's
are
a University.
Okay. I've put in more than one or two of those. Absolutely fascinating. So give us back on the timeline. Sorry. Using Klipsch bell speakers as your studio reference monitors?
Yeah.
Wow. So this was the recording room.
And listening room, yeah.
And listening room.
The recording thing didn't last too long. He lost a lot of money at that. Now, back on the timeline, as early as 1949, he realized that he couldn't make a living selling $600 speakers to people with radios.
Right.
So he sucked up his pride and he designed a cheap little corner horn called the Rebel. And the Rebel continued on into the 60s, 7 different generations, but this is a third generation from 1954. Now this, when it left the factory, was just a pile of boards with the instructions: you build it, the box like this, and then go find something to put in it. We have stuff you can put in it, but you can put anything in it you want. So this was a kit. And here is what the do-it-yourself guy in 54 did with it.
Good stars almighty. But hang on. So the kit was just a package of lumber.
Yes.
And maybe a grill. And this gentleman decided he needed some University compression drivers and an unbelievable woofer.
This compression driver was being used in the Klipschorn at that time. So he liked it, and I'm sure he just went to university and bought everything together. The woofer has a 4-inch voice coil, and it's dual wound, so you can run it at 4, 8, or 16 ohms.
I was going to say you can tap it anywhere you want, can't you? Brilliant. So did an EE design this too? I mean, but this.
I don't know who it was, but he had his feces together.
I mean, he did, and this is a Rebel, right?
This is a Rebel, 1954.
And you could literally just buy the kit and make your own of sorts if you had the wherewithal, right?
Yes. Now, you mentioned the B word.
Yeah, I said that?
This we call the polished turd because a little silver woofer in there came out of a Bose 901.
It did, didn't it?
Paul would get everything in. He'd listen to it. He'd test it. He'd dissect it, and then he'd test the pieces. He had the woofer out, and he looked at us young bucks and said, I want to know how much efficiency we can gain if we put a horn in front of this thing.
That's a good question.
Well, this is us working on it in the anechoic chamber. And the result was a 17 dB increase in efficiency.
17 dBs. Understanding people that 3 dBs is effectively a doubling.
17 is essentially a factor of 50.
Wow. Unbelievable. And I'm going to be hyper nerdy for a minute. Square wound or round wire? Round, you know?
Well, that's round wire.
Okay.
It was made by the company that I worked at before Klipsch.
Really? Well, here's the deal. They used a round wire initially to wrap it around. Then they were like,
we still use round is by far the most common geometry.
Yeah. But the Bose speakers were so unbelievably inefficient. I remember seeing a demonstration in Benton at probably 1979, 78 at Ken's Sight and Sound. Mm-hmm. And we were turning it up and playing sticks, and the lights literally would dim as they would play because it was pulling so much amperage. Unbelievable. So they went to a flat wrapped wire to get more efficiency, which...
Well, the 555 in 1926 was flat aluminum wire.
Really?
A single layer flat stack of aluminum wire.
So this is nothing new?
No.
Okay.
Well, in the 1930, Bell Labs patented a beryllium diaphragm for it. But they were physicists.
Yeah.
The material science guys couldn't make beryllium foil. But the physicists said, this is what you ought to get on.
Wow. When nerds combined. Anyway, I digress again. I love that part of the story. So this is the polished turd, huh?
Now, this case is what I call its toolbox. And the stuff on the bottom is what you'd expect out of an electrical guy. This is his 1936 Dumont oscilloscope. Mm-hmm. He knew Mr. Dumont.
Really?
Back center is the world's first frequency equalizer.
No.
The big silver bullet over there is the Bell Labs measurement standard microphone for decades.
And it's built like a microphone, like a bullet to reject other off-center sounds? Is that the point?
Yeah, to not screw up the polar response.
Sure. You literally want a polar response as opposed to nowadays. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
And then the black cylinder there is an H.H. Scott sound level meter. Now, the importance of it is that it went with Klipsch product in 1958 to the Brussels World's Fair to represent the U.S. hi-fi industry.
The microphone, the Scott microphone.
The
black one here. Yeah.
The sound level meter.
Oh,
as they were setting it all up.
Yeah.
But Klipsch represented the U.S. hi-fi industry in 1958 in Brussels. And that's the year the 2-channel record came out. They're demonstrating to audiences in the thousands 3-channel stereo.
Really?
And the Heresy had just come out.
Yeah.
And it was designed as a center channel.
I can't wait to get to the Heresy, by the way.
So anyway.
I'll digress. Wonderful. What's the camera for?
Well, Paul was very big into cameras. This is his 1920, probably 28 or 9, 16 millimeter movie camera.
Not 8 millimeter, 16 millimeter.
16 millimeter. It's got a hot dog lens on it. And he did everything. So he developed his own film. That's a developing tray for movie film. Now, when they came back from South America, he took that to Chile.
Yeah.
We have some of his Chilean video online.
Wow.
But they came back after 3 years and discovered all the money they were sending to the bank in El Paso was gone because the bank was gone.
Oh, no.
Great Depression.
Oh, no.
So what to do? He decides to go back to school and get his graduate degree at Stanford. In order to keep food on the table,
sure,
he developed and processed all of Stanford's movie film. He taught a seminar in engineering photography, and he graded the undergraduate engineering students' papers, including Hewlett and Packard.
Mm-hmm.
And their common professor, Dr. Frederick Terman, is the guy that created Silicon Valley.
Unbelievable. And I remember as a kid in the 70s, I would get audio magazines. Next thing you know, I was getting proposals from photography magazines that I needed to. And I was like, what's the interrelationship there? It seems like nerds correspond to both of those quite strongly, it looks like.
Yeah.
But so
now, this camera was just a toy.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is
That's probably the last one he bought, because he had plenty of Hasselblads and Nikons and all of that kind of stuff.
And this is just a little Polaroid land.
But it came out, it was unique, novel, and you got to have one.
You could shake the fixture and get a new one in for 30 seconds, 60 seconds. Oh, Lord. Well, what an oscilloscope this is. My goodness.
Well, that's the mid to late 60s. When he did his papers on modulation distortion, he needed figures for the article.
Oh.
So he rigged up a camera on the oscilloscope to take his figure pictures.
So where an area, again, where the technologies overlap, obviously very knowledgeable with photography, obviously very knowledgeable with electronics and acoustics. Oh my!
They were doing stop action photography of bullets in flight here during World War II.
Really? Just to see the profiles, all the fun stuff, right?
Well, and who the hell could do it?
Yeah, who else besides the military? Yeah.
No. I mean, even in the military, there were probably 6 to 10 people in the world that could do it at that time.
Really? By the way, I don't want to miss anything, but I see a K-horn in the corner over there with a variable tweeter of sort.
You know what a Leslie speaker is for the Hammond organ?
Yeah, it's got a little tweeter.
Well, this is Paul's answer to the Leslie, and in here is one of these. This is just here for visual, but there's one of these in here with a turntable motor that rotates the paddle. So it gives you the same effect as a Leslie.
Wah.
Yeah. Now, it went over like a fart in church.
I bet.
Because organ players didn't want to be confined to a corner.
No.
So there's only 10 or so of them made. Amazing. I got that one back through eBay.
That looks a whole lot like a wannabe Heresy.
That's a Rebel 7.
That's a Rebel 7. You could build your own Heresy of sorts, right?
Well, not this one. This was not a kit.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Proceed. I'm sorry. Fill us back up here.
Now,
oh, my goodness.
Well, that's a cutaway.
And I think
this one never had components. It was on the cover of Audio Magazine, 1986, when Richard Howitzer did his review of the Klipschorn.
My goodness.
Now, this photograph was on the 1969 brochure, and they chose the model because she was the tallest one they could find, and then put the beehive on her, all to make the Klipschorn look smaller.
Because we didn't want a speaker towering over her head.
When, in fact, the Klipschorn was absolutely designed to be a compact loudspeaker.
Compact?
And it is compact for what it does.
Because it's folded.
Well, and you've got the acoustic horsepower of a 100-piece symphony orchestra in the one speaker.
In one speaker.
Now, so when he first started in the 30s, there was only one place that had high fidelity, and that was a movie theater.
Right.
And so in the next room...
Well, let me scan through here just 1 second real quick. And I want you to be able to explain to people the folded horn and all the details. I'm sure that's next. So
that would be easier done at the visitor center.
Okay. Wow.
So in the 1930s, this is a movie theater speaker, RCA. It came out of the local theater. It was the performance of this kind of a speaker that he wanted to duplicate in something you could get in the living room. So the Klipschorn occupies maybe a tenth the volume, and it really does more.
A lot more. Well, and these are the drivers.
Yes.
So this would have been hidden above the movie screen. Behind the screen.
Almost all movie theater screens are perforated with the speakers behind the screen.
And one folded speaker in here, or what?
Well, there's two 15s that have motor structures that look like those. And they're all electromagnet, so you've got to have power supply for the magnets.
So he wanted to get this into your home.
Yes.
So by comparison, the K-horn is quite compact if you want
It
to.
is for what it does.
Man, what a deal. What a deal.
You
And
can get
so,
7 to 10 acoustic watts out of a Klipschorn.
really? Well, and so as an EE, tell real quick, and I'm assuming you're an EE. I don't know, okay. But as an EE, what's an acoustic watt? What does that mean? And what's the efficiency that we see today?
Well, speakers are inherently inefficient.
Very.
If it's 1%, that's pretty good. A horn speaker can get it up to around 10%.
Really?
But most of the electrical input ends up being heat.
Yeah.
And the reason that horns are more efficient is that a horn is an acoustic transformer, coupling acoustic impedance coupling of the high impedance diaphragm compared to the low impedance air in the room.
And I get what you're saying. Most of the energy, when it's not used as acoustic energy, just turns into heat.
Yes,
it heats
absolutely.
heats up the speaker coils.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
So dramatically inefficient. My goodness. Well, Jim, this is
now
really...
Paul, when he went to the patent office, he thought he had invented the corner horn. They told him take a number.
Really? That everybody
like
else?
number 5 or 6.
Well,
this is probably the first, and this is a Voigt corner horn from England, mid-30s.
So, and let's go with the corner horn and talk about the concept real quick. So, if you couple for more acoustical efficiency, if you couple your speaker to the wall or to the corner, then it's significantly more efficient, right?
Because it is operating on 1/8 of space compared to if you had a speaker on a string hanging where it's a sphere of space around it.
Right.
You've now confined it to 1/8 of space. So the load has been cut down dramatically.
And so you see speakers on strings all the time, but they are feeding thousands of watts to them, right?
I don't know.
Well, you know what I'm talking about,
But,
like in a large theater system.
Mm-hmm.
But he thought that a corner horn, a K horn, would just be a great idea, and somebody had beat him to it by quite a lot of numbers.
Oh, absolutely. Bell Labs had done it too.
Really?
This is an RCA movie theater corner horn.
And
none of the RCA boys seem to recognize.
So really, the fact of the matter is, everybody knew it was a more efficient system, no question.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And so anyway, he did not patent the corner horn, but he did patent the best one. And during the 1950s, there was nearly 50 speaker companies that had some kind of a corner horn in their product. And the Klipschorn is the lone survivor.
Wow. And just in the simplest reason, in the 50s, everything had to be tube type driven. You couldn't make a lot of wattage from the tubes.
Right. So, yeah, high efficiency was very valuable until in the 50s when they started getting amplifiers up in the 50 to 100 watt range.
Right.
Still, 100 watts into a Bose isn't going to do what 1 watt into a Klipschorn does.
Oh, the number of times I've explained that to a customer. Okay, yeah. And I'm seeing, what is this? Is this a...
Well, that's a very rare Voigt horn. If you look at it from the other side, it says what it is.
So are these all...
This is a Voigt kit from the 30s.
Tip?
Kit. They were making kits in the 30s.
Really? Which is?
Make it at home.
Oh.
Here's the instructions. Go get your wood. This is how you do it.
Golly. So no question, this was obviously a Voigt.
That was a Voigt outdoor PA system, and that driver is exceedingly rare. It's a waterproof driver.
So this would be like a stadium driver, a stadium speaker, something like that?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Jim, I can't tell you how thanks enough. This is awesome. Are we pretty much at the end of our list here?
We're at the end in here. I'm going to turn this off, and then we're going to go to the visitor center.
Okay, man, Jim, thank you so much. Let me do some without yakking, I'm going to get some content here real quick. So I like the name Shorthorn here. That's cute. And gave horns a bad name, did they?
Well, that's not even a horn.
Really? So the prototype 3 looks a little bit like a church pulpit.
The cosmetic was added. The wife acceptance factor wasn't added until probably the 60s. It's pretty ugly underneath.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you. Don't delay. Call Janae. Janae Cook, Taylor Realty, 501-617-9747. Whether you're buying, selling, or just considering. Oh, we don't need a realtor yet. Yes, you do. Don't delay. Call Janae. 501-617-9747. Call 501-922-9259. Joanna Horton at M-Force Capital. She can offer a complimentary financial evaluation planning session just for you and your needs. Once again, 501-922-9259. And literally like your good neighbor, Ike Eisenhower, your State Farm agent. Your good neighbor is there. 501-984-4100. The Home Plate Cafe and Bakery. Great home cooking and an amazing bakery located just outside the gates of Hot Springs Village. 501-984-6969 or go through the drive-thru. The Midnight Tavern, Hot Springs Village only late night place that stays open till 2 a.m. Great music, amazing drinks, and Chef Jonna cooking for you every night. At 110 Colella Drive, Hot Springs Village, Arkansas, just across from the shelf. Call for information at 501-226-0078, 501-226-0078, or check them out on Facebook with all the latest entertainment. And by Domino's Pizzas West and upcoming East. That's right, Domino's Pizza will have an East location mid-2026. Great food, great service, and great 501-915-9595. 501-915-9595.
KVRE at 92.9 and streaming worldwide on iHeartRadio. KVRE is your family-owned local hometown radio station, so be sure and tune in for live local programming, news, sports, and information every day at 92.9. HSV Radio. HSV Radio is heard every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. or streaming on any of the major platforms. Hot Springs Village Radio is an eclectic mix of music, motivation, great music history, and Saturday morning fun. Join us every Saturday morning at 9 a.m., 92.9. Hot Springs Village only short-term rental with over 2,100 five-star reviews. All properties are lakefront. They include complimentary kayaks, hot tub, pet-friendly, and a stunning view of the lake. Visit DD Village Prop today for your vacation getaway.